This whole event's marketing was centered around athletes juiced to the gills. World records would be smashed.
What is good, y'all? YD here, back with another video. And in case you guys been under a rock, man, it's been some crazy events going on called the Enhanced Games going on in Las Vegas. And pretty much what it is people that's juiced up on steroids versus average athletes. They trying to see if people can break real records or if anything crazy can happen. But let's get back into it.
So, first impression of the Enhanced Games? That was a bit of a disaster, wasn't it? 42 athletes competed across 18 events, and we saw one measly world record, an event that the same guy already broke the world record in last year. Dude just got paid $1 million to beat his PB. So if you think about it that way, this was an even bigger disaster than it already was. This whole event's marketing was centered around athletes juiced to the gills. World records would be smashed.
My PB is 976. I will destroy the world record soon.
But as the event was slowly creeping towards an end, without a world record at this point, the casters were already dampening the blows with some pretty hard copes.
And I think a lot of people have come into today expecting world records to drop. Training camp for 4 months. They were able to enhance for 2 months. It's not a defeat. It is an example of you can enter into a protocol, clinical oversight with enhancers and step into it. So I wouldn't...
From smashing world records to look at these older athletes hitting PBs, not a very good look.
59.4 backing up. This dude's 34 years of age.
So what's pretty much going on is they allow these athletes. So one half of the athletes are going to use steroids to see how strong they can get. Like they said, they didn't have enough time. And then the other half of the athletes are retired or, pro. So in my opinion, you can't take drugs and expect to be on the same level as somebody that gets up every morning, practices, or been doing this for their whole life since they're kids, and the health complications on doing steroids is high. You know what I'm saying? You get small scrotum, balls, dick, small. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, is it worth it? And then you get heart issues and other stuff going on. To me, it's not really worth it,
Fair, that is an impressive feat, but probably not the one they were looking for. And that was really only in the swimming, which had an advantage on top of an advantage, since not only they were doping, but they were also wearing laser swimsuits, the ones that were banned in 2010 or 2009 after athletes wearing them broke 93 world records. No other event was able to use banned tech. Sprinters weren't running with fans behind their back or with banned super shoes. Weightlifters didn't use exoskeletons, I guess. Not sure what can illegally help a lifter here. And to be honest, after the whole event, I'd argue swimmers were the only athletes to see a real benefit since they were already using a very effective banned suit. While track athletes specifically saw nothing remotely close to a world record, and get this, not even a single personal best. And genuinely, a lot of these athletes had never looked worse, multiple of them having run faster in high school. So let's take a look at some of these races in case you haven't already.
Okay, now it's starting to make a little more sense. You know what I'm saying? I can get behind that. That'd be kind of interesting to watch. You know what I'm saying? A dude on the track field running with a fan behind him, blowing them down the field. And this dude right here with a fake exosuit trying to lift weight that he can never lift, All this can be, experimental. Some science behind it, you know what I'm saying? And then the swimmers using laser suits. I ain't ever heard of laser suits. So they can swim faster. What? What is that? How does that work? You know what I'm saying? But hey, this part of the show will be cool. But everybody juiced up and all that right there, I'm not down for it.
On the men's, Fred Curley went 993 in the heats, followed by Matadi and Marvin Bracey Williams, a world champ silver medalist, in 10.33. Not looking very promising already. And then the final was just a rerun of the same race. Curley winning the grand prize with a 997 this time.
With 4 coming down the stretch. Curley is going to take it.
And the highlight being that there were 4 false starts before the race, because of course there was. This isn't a sanctioned race where false starts matter. So Fred was noticeably mad after the run, blaming false starts at the unsanctioned drug Olympics for his time just missing the world record, before finally getting on mic and graciously shit-talking his opponents for being enhanced and still not beating him.
Man, they gotta do better than that. They need to train a little harder, get on that shit a little bit more, and go a little harder some more.
Do you think if it would have gone off first time, you could have had a shot?
I'm ready to run fast.
Which is really rich, coming from a guy serving a ban for dodging drug tests. And believe it or not, on the program they do specify who was racing enhanced, but this basically just means Curly, who wasn't enhanced, wasn't on their protocol specifically. But Fred Curly antics aside, to say this was slow is a severe understatement. I wasn't lying when I said these athletes ran slower than their high school times. Marvin Bracey Williams ran 10:25 in high school, Michael Bryan ran a 10:53 freshman year of college, and Clarence Manyai ran a 10:56 in senior year of high school. So you know, I do gotta hand it to them, these guys are doing a good job of making the enhanced games look shit. I do gotta admit though, if this was a standard track meet, Curly's time is actually a pretty decent season opener considering the time of year. I can honestly say I expected less considering he isn't race sharp in the slightest. But this isn't that. It's the Drug Olympics after a lot of shameless world record talk.
My PB is 976. I will destroy the world record soon. I'm very confident. I'm locked in. I'm training good. Body feel good. Who gonna stop me besides myself?
Now, I wouldn't usually go out of my way to say something like this about an athlete, but Fred Curly is an utter idiot. And that's me being as polite as possible. No one in the track space had a shred of belief this bozo was going under 9.8, let alone 9.58, because he does this same world record song and dance every year since his 9.76. World record this, then he runs 10 seconds. World record that, false starts, which ironically, he did today in the heats as well. We see it so much, Bolt doesn't even know how to respond anymore. Curly had to go to an entire new space with an audience that didn't know him to start the I'll break the world record charade again. And then he got nowhere near it again. On one hand though, he did walk out with 250k, you can't bag him for that.
In my opinion, there should be no world record talk if you're using enhancements. Y'all should start your own enhanced world record, you know, instead of trying to use a regular world record for regular people. You know what I'm saying? Which is insane. But on the bright side, 250k just to run and come in first place, you know what I'm saying? That's easy money. Easy money. Even the lowest person got 20,000. You come in last, you got 20 bands. I would have took it. 20 bands, I would have took it. You know what I'm saying? I would have tried to get in other competition. 250 for the first place. Lovely.
But yeah, Curly isn't playing a character. He really is just like this.
Man, they gotta do better than that.
And then there was the women's race. Tristan Evelyn, 11:25, 0.76 seconds away from the world record.
Now in lane 3, it's Tristan Evelyn to the finish line.
If you know track, that is unfathomably embarrassing. But for the few who stumbled upon here at the will of the algorithm, firstly, that wouldn't qualify you for an Olympics. There is no chance you'd win a race in a professional field, and this year, 2 14-year-old girls have actually run faster than that. So you know, if everyone being on drugs was an issue, at the bare minimum, those girls are probably clean. This field was real bottom of the barrel B-listers, and I've heard it was the same for some of the women's swimming fields. Olympians who couldn't get out of the heats, and some who didn't even get out of national championships. The only saving grace being that the winner was clean, and again, got a fat paycheck, so props to her. Overall though, unequivocally a huge joke. With fields of these caliber, some running their first race in years, world records were never in the conversation to start with, and teeters on false marketing. And if you recall, I mentioned earlier, not a single athlete on the track ran close to their PR. But even that's kind of underselling how bad it really was. Because between every athlete on the track, they were nearly half a second behind their PRs on average. Absolutely incredible. So I guess if there is one positive takeaway from this, it's that hard work is actually significantly better than doping. Thanks Enhanced Games. But that's enough track, let's give some of the other events a look. We did see a near world record very early in the men's 100 meter freestyle.
Going for the record,
46.6! Oh, just misses the one.
Before the eventual world record in the event's finale, the men's 50 meter freestyle. But again, as an asterisk, they're doping and using banned tech, and they were also accused of time fudging. But on-screen graphics aren't accurate, we learnt that at the Paris Olympics. Only the people on the back know what the clock really said, and it was probably real. Thor Bjornsson, the mountain and current deadlift world record holder, couldn't break his own world record, but the strongman sport is already unregulated, there is no governing body drug testing, so this was just another world record attempt for him, but for $1 million.
Hold on, wait a minute. How do get $1 million just for lifting the thing, bruh? $1 million? Everybody else got 250 and under. This dude got $1 million. Just beating your own record. Dude beat his record by 1 kilogram, bruh. Or try to beat his record by 1 kilogram. Like, what? I don't know.
In weightlifting, we saw some tantrums.
He's so close. Oh, the defeat is so painful.
So to sum it up, some of the events were jokes, some events were good, world records weren't broken, and a few clean athletes beat out doped fields. But I think the big question that was left unanswered for many casual viewers was, are all Olympians on PEDs? Since clearly, these guys couldn't do any better than them. And the answer is, not all of them, and it's not that simple. Elite athletes in all major sport, emphasis on all major sport, where lots of money to be made, are in a constant rat race with drug testing, resulting in, at best, no drugs, which we saw with the supposedly unenhanced athletes winning events, or at worst, microdosing and masking agents. So the benefit isn't as big as we'd like to imagine, but it's definitely there. But you give these subpar, aging out, retired, or straight up banned athletes harder drugs, it's not going to close the distance on history's best at the very peak of their powers. Plus, if you do recall this desk segment,
these athletes had a training camp for 4 months. They were able to enhance for 2 months.
They weren't even given enough time anyway. But overall, the event did succeed in fulfilling a weird but pretty common morbid curiosity of fully drugged up athletes versus world records, while giving us a pretty clear reflection on where society is headed. That being the rising normalization of PEDs. And crazy take here, frankly, I don't like it. This essentially was a bunch of disadvantaged athletes, many of which who were never good enough at the top level, or weren't paid enough during their career, or had retired due to age/financial reasons, and dangling a fat paycheck of more money than they'd ever seen in their sport to be experimented on.
So it's pretty much what I've been saying, is this is an experiment, man. It's like a science experiment. They trying to see something. And I feel like this might be introduced in the future somehow, some way, as a new event for everybody to, put their money in and bet on with sports betting and shit like that. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always, man. Let me know what y'all think. Like, share, subscribe down below. Until next time, y'all, I'm out.